First of all, once again, thank you very much for joining us today and a very warm welcome. Let's have a loud round of applause for everybody who's been here on this Sunday evening. I sincerely appreciate all your patience. We are running a little late, but it's going to be worth your wait because we're going to have an exciting session today about learning. Okay, and all our sessions always start by giving our greetings to our goddess Saraswati. So I'm going to ask Shruti Khanpolkar to please come on stage for the Saraswati Vandana.
या शूद्रवस्त्रामृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
Thank you so much. Now I'm going to request our board of directors and our kind delegates, Mr. and Mrs. Parulekar, to please come on stage for the lighting of the lamp. So much for that auspicious start. I'm going to request Tejas and Devendra to please get back on the stage, and we'd like to take a group pic. I think till our makeup is still fresh and we all look nice. Let's just get over.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I request Tejas and Devendra to please get back on the stage with us. Thank you for the board of directors. So I think one thing that has come out very clearly during COVID times and the new normal that we are in, collaborate and work. And this community, the Global Chamber for Saraswat Entrepreneurs, is working on that mission. And I want to take this moment to congratulate the board of directors for the fantastic work they have done and for organizing this event. Can we have a round of applause for the entrepreneurs, the founders, and also for all the organizers who have put together this event. Once again, I'd like to welcome Mr. and Mrs. Parulekar. Thank you so much for taking time out today and being with us. So just to give you a little background about our Global Chamber of Saraswat Entrepreneurs, on September 12, 2019, it was formed with the purpose of creating a platform for this Saraswat community to network, collaborate, learn, share and grow. Okay. It's amazing when we decide to work together and excel, and I think that's what's cool. Even after we got launched, I think during the COVID times, there were a lot of webinars that were organized offline as well, where we got to meet a lot of amazing missionaries from our Saraswat community, learning from them, getting to know some members who are doing some exceptional work in their field. And it was a great learning and sharing experience. And now with the COVID settling down and we getting out, and I think it's only right for us to have an event like this. So once again, this event is going to mark the beginning of a lot of learning for us. Thank you. I'm going to share a little interesting story with you. Okay, this is an African folklore about a group of children who were playing on the side of the road. A passerby thought he was going to tease these people, and he said, "Why don't you cross the road? Near that tree, there's a big basket, a hamper of sweets and chocolates. Whoever runs from that end to this end first gets that hamper and you get away." Now you would assume that children are pretty competitive, and as soon as they heard that, each one decided to run across and grab that hamper and say, "Hey, I won." That's not what happened. What happened was they all held their hands together, smiled at each other, crossed the road, reached the hamper together and distributed it with each other. I think that's a great story for us to learn from all this great work that's happening with the Global Chamber of Saraswat Entrepreneurs. We are all here holding hands and learning. And the amazing bit is that we are learning from people who have started their journey and willing to share with us and learn from them. I think how many people today are willing to take that as a challenge and do it for others in the community. It speaks volumes about the kind of community that we are part of. So once again, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to now, invite somebody else on the stage to give a little memento to our chief guest. So if I may ask Saraswat sir to please share a small memento with Deven and Parulekar for gracing our occasion today and pay our respects to him. तालियों की आवाज उतनी नहीं चली। Welcome, Sir. If I may request you please come on stage to facilitate Tejas ma'am. Okay, I've done the easy bit. The hard bit is going to be done by Mohit. So please, may I request Mohit on stage, please. Can we also, share our respects for Mohit sir with a small bouquet. So a little while ago, I was talking to Tejas ma'am, Devendra sir, and Mohit, and all of us were talking, and he said that, who has the easy path? Is it Tejas and Devendra or is it Mohit? And I definitely agree that it was Mohit's job which is going to be more difficult. So it will be not fair for me to start this event without giving a little edification to Mohit here. I read his bio which Lars sent, and I was so impressed. And honestly, Mohit, really hats off to you. So, because these people don't know, I'm going to take the liberty to share with them. So, Mohit is an entrepreneur at heart, has been successfully running his venture in the field of water and wastewater treatment. He has partnered a company called Masumo Inc. and has executed over 150 water and waste treatment plants over India. He is an alumni of St. Mary's ICS School and Podar College of Commerce and completed his MBA from Indo-German Chamber of Commerce. He's an ardent sports lover, loves to hike, trek, seeks real thrill in adventure sports like bungee jumping, scuba diving, foodie at heart, and he enjoys social topics like psychology, communication, and entrepreneurship. He works closely as a public speaker, motivational speaker, and compares with NGO schools in conducting talks and workshops where he aims to bring about an impact on the society. A very passionate human being with an innate and insatiable need to share his gifts with the world. Please welcome Mohit.
Thank you so much, Preeti. You've been very, very kind with your words, I must say. And what a lovely audience, and such an honor and privilege to be here. So first and foremost, a huge round of applause to all of you. You guys are looking lovely. This is my first live event after COVID, the lockdowns, and it feels great to be back on stage. So thank you so much for coming here on a Sunday evening. Thank you. Huge round of applause to all of you. Awesome. So I would like to start off today's event by introducing our guests, not in the conventional way, in a slightly different way, in the form of a poetry written by me, and I hope you sincerely enjoy it. So here it goes. Tejas, Deven, this one's for you. It is indeed an honor for me to interview my seniors from our college, Podar. Two business mavericks who broke the conventional, beta, job karo, buy a house and get a car. They had the guts to follow their dream and passion. With their rigorous efforts, toil, today, luxury homestays in India are in fashion. The road for them was tough and hazy. At times, there were people who also called you all crazy. But building on their vision was the ultimate prize. Today, with 7 years of startup experience, they are successful and wise. Deven, Tejas, I sincerely welcome the both of you. As your junior from college and as a businessman, I also salute you. Let us all have a memorable evening, full of fun, stories and learning. And who knows, by the end of it, we all might pursue what our heart is yearning. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause to our startup leaders, founders of India's most famous startup SaffronStays, Tejas and Deven Parulekar. Welcome. Are your mics working? Is this? So all set? Great. Shoot the questions? Awesome. So Tejas finished your chartered accountancy, then joined ICICI, flourishing career. Deven, superb at your job and information technology, cyber hacking and everything of that sort. Ernst & Young. At top of your game, you guys quit your careers and started your idea, started pursuing your dream, your vision. It's no small feat. I want to ask you what triggered the idea for SaffronStays. How did you come about with this idea?
So for me, the idea actually started way back. When I was a child, and my parents were right here, and my father worked with Tata's, career with Tata's all the time, and because of him being in Tata's, we had access to a lot of beautiful Tata guest houses. So we did spend a lot of vacations then in these guest houses, and they were beautiful heritage homes with a caretaker who would take care of us, who would ensure that we, everything that we wanted was for us. And more than anything else, the entire house was for us. So, we could be playing around, we could be doing anything we wanted, and no one really to judge us upon, right? So somewhere that kind of stayed on, and I think over the years, even when we got married, and one of the gifts that my parents gave us was a stay at Tata Tea Guest House, which is a Fort Kochi, a beautiful room. And I remember we wandering in Kerala and wondering at all these gorgeous, massive homes that people have constructed, and they're just lying idle. They're not being used at all because a lot of people have migrated. And we kept wondering, why is this not more democratized? Why is that not, more people have access to it, people who can pay. Why can't they get access to what we have access to? But we, of course, borrowing from the poor, get a job and get a house and have children, and we went into that mode. But somewhere that kept tickling. And I think about 10 years back, I quit my job, and then we decided that, why not now? Why not now?
Absolutely. And I think if you look at how the world is moving, everything that was probably pre-industrial revolution is coming back. So for example, was there ever a concept called work from office? There was no offices pre-industrial revolution, right? It's a industrial age concept. Factory setting, office setting is a new concept. Very similarly, hotels is actually an aberration. There never existed hotels 200, 300, 400 years ago. We stayed in each other's houses. And that's precisely the trend that is coming back. That you stay in someone's house, stay in a villa, stay in a vacation home, and not in a hotel.
Awesome. And the name SaffronStays, the very sound of it is exotic, just like he said. So how did you guys come up with this name, SaffronStays?
So many reasons actually. We were looking for a brand name that is very Indian, very earthy, very Asian, and at the same time extremely premium, because we always were clear that we wanted to build a premium or a luxury brand, which is known for its luxury quotient. Also, if you look at saffron, out of the 5 human senses that we have, 3 of the senses are covered by saffron. Whether it's the sense of smell, which is the aroma, whether it's the sense of color, the saffron color, or or it's a taste that you get. So we knew that at some stage, as as we evolve to a slightly higher luxury level, luxury quotient, we would be able to use these three flavors in our marketing and PR communication. So even if you look at the sprinkling of saffron color in our brand strategy, or the fact that if you go to our homes, the aroma is slightly infused with saffron. You don't even know that, but it's done. It's been playing on your mind. Or the shampoo and the conditioner has a slight saffron inducement. We knew that we were able to play this without even you as a customer ever getting to know, right? And of course, lastly, the alliteration of saffron and stays, SNS, that gives a little rhyme, a little name to it. So, yoga विचार केला होता पण ही ब्रँड स्टोरी सांगतो.
Amazing. So you guys actually get into the detailing of having that aroma, and I guess that's the level of detailing you guys get into. Awesome. We have one video. Can we have a video, Sandeep, of one of their villas, please? Yeah.
Started wanting to have a private equity investor coming to a startup. We made a pitch, and I could see on his face he was not able to visualize what we actually do. तर मी म्हटलं की there's only one thing I can do is उद्या स्पीडबोट पकडूया, अलिबागला जाऊया, तुम्हाला माझे सगळे बंगले दाखवतो आणि लंच करूया, ब्रेकफास्ट करूया, whatever, and संध्याकाळी परत येऊया. And we did exactly that. I was surprised he agreed. The founder of the company.
Who would it?
Yeah, agreed. And they spent the full day with us, from morning breakfast to lunch to evening tea, high tea, everything. We came back by speedboat, Apollo Mandar, so the ramp and we climbed up. He just turned around and said, close the deal now. What's the valuation? What's the money that you spent? I don't have a PowerPoint. I don't have an Excel sheet, I don't have a PowerPoint. He said, no, sir, the deal was correct. Wow, where did that come from?
Let's give the audience a glimpse of one of your villas. Yeah, Sandeep, please. Infrastructure over there.
आपण युरोपला कसं जातो? If you look at Lake Geneva backdrops, if you look at anywhere, Tuscany, Italy or wherever, आपला Maharashtra is right there.
Right, absolutely.
Lake Pavna म्हणा, Munshi म्हणा, Karzat म्हणा. I think we have it as Maharashtrians discovered our own backyard. We haven't given justice to it in terms of आपल्याला फक्त ते लोणावळ्याचं मार्केट माहिती आहे, सिटी माहिती आहे, आणि तेवढं ते गर्दी आणि that we know. I don't think we explore our own
And I can't believe that this is just about 100 kilometers from home.
Less than that, 70.
100 minutes.
It's just about 70 kilometers.
I just can't imagine the landscape can be so beautiful, so close.
It's absolutely stunning.
Surreal.
So I think if there is one thing that we've done right, or maybe what we're most proud about, is the fact that we showcase Maharashtra beyond Mahabaleshwar, beyond Lonavala. We've looked at various areas like Pavna, Munshi, we've looked at Kamshet, we've looked at Alibag, we've looked at Karzat in a big way. So I think
अलिबागमध्ये आमचे आता 30 बंगले आहेत. कर्जतमध्ये 25 तरी असतील, लोणावळ्याला 40 आहेत, पाचगणी महाबळेश्वरला 20 आहेत, नाशिक इगतपुरी साईडला we probably have 20 such, and each one of these are gems, right? I mean, something like this is. So we put really Maharashtra on the tourism map in a very, very different level. We made Maharashtra sexy, right? Which is probably what is.
Awesome. So how does, can you just tell us a bit about your business model? Do you own these bungalows and
I think if we even own one of them, I don't think we would ever do anything like this. We would be happily just sitting there enjoying our COVID times and lockdown times and everything from there. But I think it's just the fact that we didn't have them made us want them on the board. So it's a question about what we do, and I think when I was interacting with a lot of people over here, the questions were, are you like an Airbnb? Are you like an OYO? Are you like a Club Mahindra? So I think we are a little of everything, but none of them. When we started the company, of course, we wanted to create like a marketplace, where if I have a house, I can come and list over here and I can generate business. But we soon realized that in India, there are two problems with this model, which is the traditional Airbnb model. We realized there are two basic problems. From a homeowner's side, Who are these homeowners? I mean, people who own these homes, assets, are industrialists, they are professionals. They don't have time to answer guest queries, they don't have time to market, they don't have time to run the operations. They want a credible player to take over and handle this project. Right? At the same time, they want to ensure that the right kind of people come to the house. Okay, so they want a partner in that. On the guest side, on the customer side, the problem with an Airbnb kind of a model, I mean, it's a great model, of course, no doubt about it, but in India, the problem I'm telling you is that as Indians, when we go on a holiday, we don't want to sit and cook, right? I mean, ask, you don't know if I'm sure the ladies would say this far more, I can see not a way to go. You ask us to go and cook on a holiday, we'll please bash you up. So that is one thing. Secondly, again, so therefore this whole thing of credibility came into picture about what kind of homes are you going into? What you see, will you get that? Will I get food there? Will I get service there? Will my kids be happy? All kinds of questions. So, which is why traditionally we have loved to go to hotels, right? Because there you know what you're going to get into. You know standard, you know. Now that standardization is also a problem because then it's sterile. You go to a hotel room in Manipur or you're in Goa or wherever, you get the same food, you get the same chicken tikkas and the same paneer makhanis, and there is no fun to it. So that's the second side of it. So credibility was one. Second was actually experiencing a very, very unique setup. And third most important is, as Indians, we love to travel in groups. Right? We love to travel with our friends, we love to travel with our cousins, our gym friends, kaka, mama, like huge groups. And when you travel like that, if you go and stay in a hotel, you are always restricted to your rooms. You are worried that you're too loud and everyone will complain about you. So these homes give you the privacy, okay, which you, for those 2 days, 3 days that you are renting that house, there's no one to come to judge. You are in the pool and no one is going to look at you. Your kids can be playing around and you are not worried that they will knock off someone's breakfast. So that is, I think, where we saw that need gap. And that need gap is what we actually pivoted towards. That was our most important pivot that we did very, very early in our business. We moved away from being a marketplace to actually being a full stack hospitality player, but in homes. So we're not even a homestay. So a lot of people also think that we're homestays. We're not homestays. Because homestays what you typically have the owner staying there and taking care of it. Here, there is a caretaker and he steps out. Now I'm outside. Whenever you need me, call me, I'm here. Right? So the house is to yourself, you get the full privacy and the service and the surety of a hotel.
So you actually train the people there, like for example the cooks and the housekeeping staff?
Absolutely. So now about the business model that you're talking about, we don't own these homes. We don't necessarily take them on lease either. We run them on simple management contracts. We borrowed that from a traditional hospitality kind of a setup. Where a Taj, for example, need not necessarily own the hotels. They have someone who owns the asset and they are the operator. So we are the operators in this case, and we do the entire service there. Where we train the staff, we ensure that they know how to do the beds, to clean, those kind of things.
All the staff that you get in our homes, they are all match and trained. Really high quality staff. In fact, COVID was a brilliant opportunity for us to hire from 5 stars and 7 stars and top chefs from top restaurants in Bombay who were all laid off. We hired everybody and we ensured that all of those high quality questions just went through the roof. So the reason was that a lot of the ultra HNIs and the HNIs who were earlier going to Mauritius or outside of the country suddenly had no option because you can't fly out. And they all started looking at us because of the privacy that we offer. So a lot of our clientele is actually HNIs, ultra HNIs, cricketers, film stars. To me, you name the person and they come and stay with us. but we also don't talk about it on Instagram. We're not allowed to. But they come and stay. But their expectation of the quality of standard is kind of high. So it forced us as a company to actually dramatically improve our quality standards. So the outcome of that was that last year, and this came as a huge surprise to the two of us. We were voted as in the top 100 luxury brands in this country. And there's a huge round of applause. So there is actually even bigger sweetener. Out of the top 100 luxury brands, there are only 6 in hospitality. So there is Taj, there is Leela, there is Oberoi, there is ITC, there is Postcard, and there is us. And for a 6-year-old startup to to win something like this, and I must let you in a secret. This year we've been given that award again. That says a lot, I guess, right?
Awesome. So you said you don't own your properties, right? Just brings me to a very interesting thought. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was watching this movie called The Founder. You must have watched it. I strongly recommend the audience to watch The Founder. It's on the life of Mr. A. Kroc, who is the founder of McDonald's. And over there, a finance expert comes to Mr. A. Kroc and tells him that you must own the land on which your burger is cooked. Right? You remember that scene? You must buy the land, build your restaurant on that land. And most traditional business owners think that way. If you ask my dad, he would say, if you want to start a business, buy an office, invest. And many businessmen like that, a capital intensive balance sheet full of assets. Another way of looking at things is Indigo Airlines, right? An airline company that does not own a single jet, they lease their jets. I want to ask you, is this trend of being asset light here to stay? Is it good to be capital intensive? Should you be asset light? The world is changing so fast. In short, should you rent rather than buy?
No, so see, I think fundamentally in the hospitality industry, there is nothing called being completely asset-light. Okay? For example, even the homes that we run, somebody has created that asset. Right? Instead of me creating the asset or me owning the asset, it is that Tata HNI or the HNI who owns the asset. It's just that we've repurposed it. When the 10 वर्ष 20 वर्षापासून तो बंगला असाच पडीक होता. Because nobody was using it. We went to him or her and showed them the picture, and they bought into that story. And eventually, we run these homes. So somebody is paying for the asset. Or even Indigo story, if you read that very carefully, they have a separate company which does the asset leasing, and they leases to the parent Indigo. So an asset-light business, the way we see it is, we will never own assets here. Okay. Somebody else's balance sheet and my P&L. My P&L is based on somebody else's balance sheet. So what do I raise money for or spend money on? Primarily for building out a technology platform, number one. Okay? So I must tell you, we are less of a hospitality company and more of a technology company. We just masquerade as a hospitality company. Okay? So second, we leverage a lot of that money in brand building and marketing. Okay, so the value creation is in the concept. And हा concept नव्हता. आणि आज तो concept आम्ही create करून सगळ्या parties ला win-win situation create केलेला. म्हणजे guest ऑप्शन दिला जो नव्हता. होम ऑर्डरला त्याचा ॲसेट पडीक होता, तर काहीच नव्हतं. 2 लाख रुपये महिन्याचा खर्च होता. आज त्याला मी महिन्याला 7-8 लाख रुपये काढून देतो. Right? So he is in a completely very different zone of mind. And for you and I as guests, that's fantastic. And as in that process, if I create a little wealth for ourselves,
I think there's also this saying, buy your worries when you get rent experiences. So
that's awesome.
because a lot of friends tell me it's not your problem.
Absolutely, you must rent. That's what they say.
There's an interesting part to this also, that a lot of people are now actually realizing the strength in this particular model that we're talking about, and a lot of these conversations are now happening where people who own lands are now coming and saying that, what if I build 6 villas and a community? Or I want to buy an asset, but I want a back-to-back monetization model to it. So people are not necessarily, so a very interesting change in the mindset is you have to monetize every little asset that you have. Okay, so as long as that is on your mind, then that's fine. So I think you see that even, so Uber is not so much in India about monetizing that asset, but I think abroad, I think you have, right, where people have given their Mercedes and expensive cars
See, this is called the sharing economy, right? So an asset which is purchased by somebody is actually shared with many others, and that's where the value creation really happens for all stakeholders.
Awesome. So we all remember our firsts, right? Our first day in school, our first date, first kiss, everything first. How was your first bungalow booking experience?
Actually, I must tell you, when we were standing here, आणि हा लग्नाचा हॉल आहे आणि ते जो वे वी वर स्टँडिंग आय थॉट आमचं रिसेप्शन परत होतं फोटो घेत होता आय कुडंट टेक युअर हेल्प
But how was the first time you got a booking on your platform? How was the feeling, the experience?
So there are two interesting parts to our sale. So first, the interesting sale for us was actually getting the first bungalow. And I mentioned to you that we shifted, right? And we shifted not because of our brainchild or our this, but a very interesting phone call that we got. So what happened is that almost a year into development of the platform, and we had also gone out and signed up a lot of homes across the country. And then we realized zero sale, kuch bhi sale nahi ho raha tha, nothing was happening, and we were wondering what is going wrong. And then we got one interesting call from a Parsi family. And he said that I have a house which is a 100-year-old heritage house which is in Mathura. But I don't want to run it. But I want to give it to you to monetize it, but tumko run karna hai. And we said, we're not hospitality people, we don't understand, we want to build a platform, we are blah 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 blah. He said, go and have a look. He kept insisting, I think, persisted. And I remember I went and saw it, and I remember distinctly being there. And it reminded me of all my Tata home guest houses experiences. And I remember making this one phone call to Deven and saying that, Deven, even if I have to be a caretaker here now, मुझे ये घर चाहिए, मैं ये चलाऊंगी, I will learn.
आणि पहिलं बुकिंग त्याचं असं होतं की आम्ही अंदाजला होतो सेम आम्ही अंदाजला होतो आणि माझ्या मित्रांनी माझ्या तिघाच्या पार्टनरनी तिघे पार्टनर होते त्यांनी म्हटलं आम्ही जातो आणि तिकडनं त्यांनी आम्हाला फोटो पाठवला की ते नेमका तो गिझर बंद पडला तिकडे आणि ते बकेट्स म्हणून गरम पाणी एका रूममध्ये दुसरीकडे मुद्दावर मला एम्बॅरेस करायला त्यांनी फोटो पाठवले आणि अजूनही म्हणजे ही इज नाव द ग्लोबल CEO ऑफ ऑटोमेशन एनिवेअर विच गॉट लिस्टेड ॲट $250 billion. ओके अँड इवन नाव ही रिमाइंड्स मी बघ तुझा पहिला फोटो आहे ना दाखवतो तुला
It was a good experience.
Absolutely.
And after that, the ball started rolling.
आणि तेवढंच ब्लड प्रेशर माझं वाढतं एव्हरी टाइम आय सी रिव्ह्यू वेअर्स हे नाही चाललं आणि ते नाही चाललं सो सीसेस काय थंड राहतो एवढं काय एवढं ठीक आहे असं नॉट हॅपनिंग.
So Deven, you said that you guys are a technologically driven company, right? So much of integration must be going into it. And you have a website. Maybe in the future you may have an app. I was on your website. There's this automation of WhatsApp. A robot that communicates with you, algorithms, coding, the entire works. Can you just tell us how important is technology and how do you monitor so much of technology? I know you're a tech guy yourself, it must be tough.
Yeah. So actually, if you look at our business, आमचं skyscrapers are there. When you have an ambition to build out a 100-floor building, you spend 2-3 hours digging the whole, or not years maybe, but digging the whole foundation and going really deep. And we have ambitions of being a very large 5,000 home, 5,000 or 10,000 home inventory some stage. And we realize that the fundamental of our business is technology. Everything has to run on technology. So we have over-invested. But the kind of tech platform that we have can easily scale up to 10,000 homes tomorrow. And we know that we're doing it deliberately. So whether it is an artificial intelligence, for example, if you call my call center and the contact center advisor doesn't need to know a single home or anything about the home. he or she will just ask you 10 questions, feed it into the system and press a button called Smart Suggest. 3 options there are based on availability, based on your choices, and it will be recommended to you. That's not a simple yes no answer. It's actually an AI algorithm in the back which is constantly learning what the customer wants and people who like this, Amazon people who like this also viewed this, or people who bought this also. So that kind of recommendation engine is at the back end. Likewise, our entire process of check-in, check-out, even before COVID, we were contactless. And our customers are without mobile, but also backends are completely app. So whether it's our ops guy, whether it's our supervisor, caretaker, everything is applied. So we use technology to the hit, and now we add 10-15 homes a month, and we add, hopefully, we were waiting for COVID to kind of subside, and then we'll wrap up our entire operations pan India. That's the time when all this technology will really come to play.
Amazing. So to do all this must be very, very expensive. A lot of capital must be required. So the golden question: how did you guys go about arranging your funding?
No, इसमें कुछ capital नहीं लगता है. No, so this is not a capital intensive business. No, this is the highest return on capital investment that you can get from any business. Now, if you look at what we've created as an enterprise, I mean, and the kind of EBITDA margins that we generate, even the gross margins that we generate, the capital deployed is barely what? फक्त 12 crore पण नाही झालं. आणि जे रेज केले 20 crore त्यातले अजूनही 7-8 crore बँकेत आहेत. So we've been so frugal and so clear that the way we will create this business, and our valuation is a very different order. But that's been done with a clear mind that A will be asset light, B will be technology driven, third will be brand forward. Right? And when you do these 2 or 3 things, you don't need copious amounts of capital, you just need intellect and the drive to get it done. That's what we have.
But then how do you raise this kind of money? Whatever money you have raised so far, and I know it's a lot of money.
दस अपना बघितला त्याच्यात एक पर्टिक्युलर सीन आहे ना तो ये सब कैसा हो गया
कैसे किया आपने ऐसा कैसे रेस किया
Actually, one story of course he told you about the investor and how the investor got interested in our business. I think for every business there is a taker, right? And there is an investor. So you have to find the right kind of partner. Of course, we have been very fortunate that our investor is our partner. More than anything else. And as an investor, I think he has to play 1 or 2 of these following roles. One is either he helps you be a finance person. So the next round of funding he should help you kind of get it. Second is he should be a consultant, a free car consultant to you. So he should be able to open doors for marketing, for networking and some of these things. Right? So
Tom Sawyer effect है ना, you want to paint your backyard, so you make it look so beautiful that all your friends want to pay you to paint your fence. So you want to make your investor feel that he's actually doing you a favor, or you are doing him a favor by making him.
this is a recording session.
That's okay. But an investor should be a banker to you, a free banker to you, a free consultant to you, right? Yeah, and paisa. That's it.
Free marketing.
Free marketing.
We should go about talking about your product and services everywhere. So we've been very fortunate, of course. But the key things I think what any investor looks for is first and foremost the team. A lot of people think that it's the idea, but it's actually not the idea so much, but the team that any investor will first want to back you. Right? And then comes the idea, then comes the execution of it. So yeah, I think for us.
Yeah, so the way you evaluate a startup is a big ass opportunity, a large opportunity, and a kick-ass team, right? Fantastic team, with a mind-blowing product. And if you marry these 3 and you add one more layer, and that's pure luck, which is your timing, right? If you get your timing right, then you are in a position to dominate the market. There are a lot of instances where great team, great product, a lot of funding, but the timing was poor. Maybe the idea was ahead of its time. In that case, the failure happens. But sometimes you got to be a little lucky. So Airbnb, for example, great idea, great team, great funding, but the fact that global recession happened in 2008 forced people to look at all their assets as something that we need to monetize. Or for example, जिओनी आज हे फायबर नेटवर्क टाकलं नसतं तर नेटफ्लिक्स इंडियामध्ये आज काहीच नसतं. Only because that network has been put down, and 5G is across the country, 4G is across the country, sorry, that Netflix or Prime is able to do what it can do. So, thank you.
Awesome. So now we'll come to the million-dollar questions because they're regarding the millions of dollars. So the moment you pick up the Economic Times on the mid or nowadays on the app, you scroll through and you come across this startup is worth $5 billion. This startup is worth $7 billion. You said $250 billion. Airbnb is worth $168 billion. I don't know, I can't even imagine the number of zeros and all that. In simple layman's language, they say this startup is valued at so and so. What is valuation for a startup? Can you simplify this concept of valuation?
Yeah, so valuation, like beauty, lies in the eyes of the beholder. Yeah? Or beer holder, whatever it is. I mean, truth be told, actually, whether it's a traditional business, whether it's a startup, whether it's an enterprise, the valuation is something that somebody is willing to pay you to buy your business. What does that mean? That translates into a combination of the first four things that I just mentioned, which is your excellent team, excellent opportunity, excellent technology, and so on and so forth. The moat that you've created around your business, which allows you to sustain that value. Okay? So, in traditional banking parlance, it's investment banking parlance, are discounted cash flow. म्हणजे कुठल्या 10 वर्षाचे जे कॅश फ्लोज आहेत त्याला आम्ही एक डिस्काउंट रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट डिस्काउंट करतो आणि आजची एनपीव्ही मिळते नेट प्रेझेंट व्हॅल्यू. करेक्ट? दॅट्स हाऊ यू एज अ एंटरप्रेन्योर इफ यू वर टू बाय अ बिझनेस तू म्हणशील 10 वर्षाचं किंवा 8 वर्षाचं व्हॉटएव्हर दॅट इज, राईट? सो सर्टन बिझनेसेस गेट व्हॅल्युएशन ऑफ 2 times their multiple, revenue multiple. Some certain businesses get 20 times their revenue multiple. Right? And why does that happen? Several reasons. First, what is the market size that you're going after? Okay? And second, do you have the ability to reach that market size? For example, you and I both need a haircut. But how does a barber shop doesn't get a valuation? That market size is huge. Theoretically, 7 billion population, everybody needs a haircut. But then, do you have the ability to reach every human being with your barber shop? That's why your valuation is nothing. But if you create an app where you are able to spot the nearest barber, look at the ratings, and do a booking out of which that company which is producing the app gets a 10%, there is valuation. Suddenly now you are able to create a marketplace of barbers and a large number of customers can access them per month. You are urban company. So तुझ्या घरी तुम्हाला barber पाठवतो. So the valuation comes from there. So two things. One is how large the market size is. Second is how you are able to reach that market. Right? Now if you break this down, you will realize companies that are technology empowered are able to reach that large number of customer base with an app, with whatever. And that's why there is a premium on technology companies. Okay? But ह्याच्यात पण असं असतं की if you are chasing a large opportunity, there are 100 people, smart people who are chasing the same opportunity. That's where the other things start coming. Ki, how strong is your tech team? How strong is your marketing team? How strong is the founding team? So, how fast you are? That's the most important question. Okay, the fast, the speed. So, startup equal to growth. Okay? If your growth rate is, say for example, let's take a takka, 1% per week, you are going to grow at 1.7x at the end of the year. If your growth rate is 2% per week, okay, per week you are growing 2%. Your growth rate annually is 2.8%, 2.8x. 2.8x to year. If your growth is 10% per week, which is your technology company, okay, which is what technology companies aspire to, your growth is 142 times. Okay? That's the secret sauce to valuation. You have to ask yourself the growth rate क्या है? Weekly growth rate क्या है? I'm not even talking about annual growth rate 20% 25%, no. Weekly growth rate क्या है? So आम्ही जेव्हा आमचं गणित बघतो आम्ही बघतो किती वेळ लागते आता 175 वेळ किती ऍड करतो आपण 17 वेळ ऍड करतो म्हणजे मंथली ग्रोथ रेट काय 10% म्हणजे वीकली ग्रोथ रेट काय 2.5% म्हणजे at the end of the year where I'm going to get to this is my valuation. Hello? That's it. So it's a function of your ability to generate revenues and traction in terms of consumers or people willing to pay you for your product versus the market size that remains to be addressed versus the speed at which you are reaching that market size. Sorry, it was a long time.
Not at all. But I look at it that what you're saying is absolutely right. But let's take the example of credit. Right now, credit huge on social media. You play a YouTube video, 99% the ad that comes before the video is credit. They have an operating revenue of only 52 lakhs per annum. That's it. Still, they managed to raise 250 million. And they're valued at around 4 to 5 billion. Is it profit or anything of that sort?
It's a bonus thing here. So you have to understand that credit is as an app is on the phone of the top 1% cream of India. Okay? If that app is residing on the top 1% credit worthy people, ज्यांचे 750 आणि वरती सिबिल स्कोर आहे, त्या सगळ्यांच्या फोनवर जर क्रेडिट ॲप असेल, इमॅजिन हाऊ मेनी कस्टमर बेस आणि त्याचा किती डेटा त्यांच्याकडे पडलेला आहे. That data is the new oil. Please understand, oil or the gold revolution, oil revolution, okay? And now it is data which is, so Facebook's valuation is because of the data that they have about you. म्हणजे तुम्ही स्क्रीन वरती गेला तर स्क्रीन खाली गेला तर डेटा एक्झॉस्ट and somewhere some machine is capturing तुम्ही किती सेकंदात तो फोटो बघितला आणि वरती गेला खालती गेला everything is measured. That is data. So in this case, those 1% ते कुठले जातात, कुठे कुठल्या रेस्टॉरंटमध्ये जातात, कुठे कुठले कपडे घेतात. So tomorrow if I'm Marks and Spencer and I want to run a campaign, all I have to do is go to credit and say, target everybody who is in Mumbai, who has last gone to Alan Solly shop, okay, and show this campaign to them. Imagine if I have given you one scenario right now, how many cuts and variations of scenarios can I give to you? That is the market potential. So right now, credit is purely in a customer acquisition phase. They will have data over the top 2% of credit-worthy people in this country, and then marketers will form a beeline outside the shop and pay them top dollars for a small sliver of attention of you as a customer when you see that.
So eventually a startup should start making money, should start making profit. At some point is that time frame.
That time frame,
Because so many startups just keep making losses.
there are time frame is dependent on the size of the opportunity and the speed at which you are getting to your destination. Okay, so if the opportunity is $1 billion and I'm getting it at in 3 years, after that growth simply, so my valuation is only so much, right? But if the opportunity size is $100 billion and I am getting to it over a 15-year time frame, I have to burn money to get to that stage. So investors recognize this opportunity size, the speed and the time within which you are going to reach there, and how cleverly you are able to get to this. So they fund your losses till such time as you have started reaching the real potential of the startup. Google, for example, 77% of their revenue, 97% of their revenue is only from search. Simple loss, okay? But search makes up billions of dollars for them.
AdSense.
So when you search करता ना, तुम्हाला red dress in
And the first link that comes is
so ads वगैरह people त्याला reverse auction करतात लोक. So it's reverse auction. Highest bidder with a relevant score. Relevance असतो त्याला. You can't randomly bid for any keyword. So there's a relevance score and there's a reverse auction. So many people bid. Imagine billions of dollars are being generated from free search just by cataloging the words information.
So Another example of this is also Zomato. Okay, right? And Zomato also one will ask, what's the big deal? Why is the valuation in that? So another use case of this data that he is talking about is, as Zomato today, I know that in this triangle of whatever, maybe a business center or a business office center, at between this time to this time, this is most ordered, and this is how that pattern is. This data can be further used in future. I mean, of course, you need massive amount of data for this, and this is, I think they're just getting started. But the massive amount of data tomorrow will decide investments, right? It will decide investment. Also, Zomato will not depend on another hotel or a restaurant. They will put up their own, dark kitchens, and they will service out of there. What you have to do is ensure that, okay, if they know these are the 10 brands, they will ask, okay, 10 of you, I'm setting up this entire setup. You get this space, you get this space, you get this space, you get this space, and cater out of it. So the use cases are tremendous. Data is most critical.
And one sunlight that you can put on disinfecting the malpractices or the fake process is called IPO. The moment the company decides to list itself or gets listed, you will start seeing it being subjected to intense scrutiny by retail investors, investment bankers, and so on and so forth. And automatically valuations become normal, or what it should really start becoming, because the market has discovered the value, right? There are millions of buyers, there are millions of sellers. Everybody is studying everything that you're printing out, and you're seeing that play out. Certain players who have put their IPO out, their values are rocketing, certain are not. Right? So the biggest sunlight effect is IPO.
So, say for example, I start up, right? And in 5 years, I get a valuation of 100 crore rupees. And my stake in the company is 30%. That means my liquid, my value is 30 crores. So if I actually want that money, I need to sell my stake. Simple as that. My question to you is, do startup founders have an exit plan even before starting up? Are you emotionally connected with the business?
We are definitely emotionally connected because I think the reason for starting this was to create a brand, a legacy of sorts. But I think at every stage in a business, there would be a stage where the business outgrows you. You are no longer able to, you start becoming an impediment to the growth of the business. And as an entrepreneur, you need to have that maturity, that wisdom to know that, acha, I have been able to take it to this point. Now it's time for professionals to take over. Now it's time for another setup to take over. Now, unfortunately, in some cases what happens is some entrepreneurs don't realize it. And that's where maybe the investors swoop in and actually depose the guy and say, "Let's put a husband," right? Because now you are a problem rather than a help. But as an entrepreneur, one should always, and I think it's a matter of pride, frankly. If you come to a point where you've created something so large, so interesting, that people recognize you as, someone who's, rather than recognizing you as someone who started that, they say, oh, I've heard of that company, you are a part of it. Right? So that is, I think that's most critical. So emotional attachment, yes, to what you create, but also that you have to let it fly after the point.
Let go.
Let go.
Oh, but then either professionals hand over to the backseat gap, IPO kara and you hand it over to professional management, or you sell it to a much larger ecosystem which has the ability to take your idea global, right? Or give it to a private equity investor who will take the asset over completely. But one has to take a slightly pragmatic step at certain stage, knowing fully well your own limitations and your lack of capabilities to take the brand to the next level, and take a step back. It's like your daughter. You're marrying it off to somebody who says, she will love you. Or the other way around, right? It's not.
Because most traditional business owners don't think this way.
But this is the only way to let brands outgrow you and me, right? And brand has to be bigger than human being. Because as the resources are there, thumbs up me Coca-Cola कुठली फॅमिली त्यांनी विकलं Coca-Cola आज 20 वर्ष 25 वर्ष झाले they are not able to kill the brand because कोण ओन करतं त्या ब्रँडला not the owner customer owns the brand today that म्हणजे आम्हाला परवाच कोणतरी शिकवलं we were having a fun session with a CEO friend of ours who heads an advertising agency he said you know the customer owns your brand you only have an illusion of you are mere custodian right you are just creating that brand but that eventually जर त्या कस्टमरला थम्सअप हवं आहे तर तो थम्सअप मागणार आणि मग त्या कंपनीला काही करून तो थम्सअप प्रोड्यूस वी कांट गिव्ह द ब्रँड कोका-कोला कॅनॉट गिव्ह द ब्रँड थम्सअप इन इंडिया बिकॉज इट्स अ ब्रँड विच अ कस्टमर्स ओन यू वॉन्ट वॉन्ट थम्सअप right so we also want to create a brand that even if for example tomorrow we sell now that buyer will not be able to kill so we will cross the mortality risk of the brand and then sell then you build a legacy.
Very, very interesting way of looking at things. I must learn this. I come from a traditional school of business. So the way you are speaking about this has got me thinking. It's really, really interesting, I must say. There's this large section in society that do not like startups. You know, even in the media, they say that you are coming to disrupt things. A simple example, I was reading on Netflix. Right? There was a time, like, remember the old days when we were kids? We wanted to watch a movie at home. We would go to a video parlor. There used to be a video uncle over there. We used to call him a video uncle. You know, we used to rent out that cassette or DVD, come home, watch it, go back. He used to give you 5 rupees back. It was so nice. And then otherwise we used to watch the reruns of it on cable. In comes Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar. I watch the shows online, I watch films online, I watch a damn cricket match online. See the collateral damage. Cable subscriptions going down. CDs, DVDs stop manufacturing. Video uncle where he is, I don't know. No one knows. You don't see a video parlor. Disruption of a harmonious market. And this is what startups are aiming for. Your views, please.
You said you don't want comparison. But yes, so disruption is a very, very negative word. I totally don't like it. Although a lot of startups do take pride in calling themselves disruptive technologies. But I think what they do essentially is look at something and question the status quo of everything. Every assumption is questioned. And when that questioning happens is when you look at a different solution altogether. I don't know whether we are disrupting the industry. We would like to believe that we did. But I like to believe that we also created something interesting out of it. We found a need gap and we tried to fix it.
Maybe the hotel industry is not too happy with you guys. Maybe.
Yeah, possibly, of course. And there have been others, right? There's been Olo, which has also disrupted the market and people are not happy with them. But they also saw a need gap. They saw that budget segment there is nothing that is credible and trustworthy, and they try to fill that gap, right? So there is always a disruption that will happen where there is a need gap, right? And when that happens, I think as a community, as a race, we evolve, we move forward, not back. So I think we should all be very happy with that.
या कॉन्सेप्टला क्रिएटिव्ह डिस्ट्रक्शन म्हणतात म्हणजे
creative
destruction. So before the trick to the whole thing is that before somebody else comes and disrupts your business, you creatively destroy your own assumptions of your business. आता म्हणजे I'll give you an example. 3M माहिती आहे. 3M काय करतात ते adhesives, all of that, that you know of. So 3Mचा full form काय माहिती आहे?
Minnesota mining company.
Yes, it was a mining company, right? Minnesota mining manufacturing company, correct? So it has got nothing to do with mining any longer. So companies realize that they are built for creating value. They need not necessarily be married to the business that they are in, and they can keep pivoting and keep moving forward. For example, Nokia. Do you know that smartphones were invented by the engineers in Nokia?
Touchscreen.
Yes, touchscreen smartphones, the whole Symbian OS was largely the product of the engineers of Nokia. Unfortunately, their finance controller or CFO got elevated to CEO position, he said the way forward is low-cost phones, and he moved manufacturing to India. And तो 2000 को टॉर्च वाला फोन तक निकल चालू किया.
Nokia 3310. My first phone.
The one that you use also as a weapon.
But somebody else saw. So ideally, they could have actually destroyed their own, volume stroke business generating asset, which is the 3310, and they could have gone in for a smartphone. But somebody else saw it, right? Somebody else saw that and came in. So creative destruction is the way. But look at today. I mean, 10 years from now, it's the most ubiquitous thing that everybody has a smartphone. There's more computing power in your phone than probably what launched the rocket Apollo 11.
I'm very happy with Netflix and all. Yeah. I'm extremely happy.
So
it is very good.
So that is disruption. That is disruption. Disruption. This is
I also feel for video. He was a figure in my life. Actually, going there, until kya picture hai, giving that kind of people like him, I don't know what he's doing or where he is. So he would be very angry with Netflix for sure.
No, he might have started a coffee shop or something. I think that asset is always that he owned a shop. That shop is earning more rental than you and I sitting. So don't worry about it. Enough takers for that asset that he owns. So don't worry.
Tejas, Deven, you all used a word called pivot, right? And I was reading about this concept called startup pivots. The first name that came up was Redbus. Redbus basically, I believe, started. All they wanted to do was sell an online-based ticketing software to travel agents. That was their vision initially. B2B, travel agents got rejected. And then all of a sudden, they changed. And now they become travel agents literally themselves. They take on the bus booking themselves. You can book a bus ticket anywhere on Redbus. They've got B2C. The very people whom they wanted to serve, right, have become their competition, so-called. 180-degree turn. And startups, I have read, pivot very, very rapidly, change very, very rapidly. Don't you guys get scared of such rapid change? Like, what is your view on this pivot concept?
I think it's a hallmark of any startup, right? You have to do it. You have to read the headwinds that are coming your way and try and change whichever ways they can do.
They just so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, I'll tell you two pivots that we did in our just 7 years. The first one I mentioned to you was where we were first a marketplace and then we moved into actually being a full stack hospitality. That was just one phone call, because with one phone call we actually
from there we went to one home. 1,999 homes we shut down because that was a pure marketplace where a customer comes to the portal, discovers the homestay and books. To that we said no, we will run only one home to a large number of customers, and now we are back to 175 when we run these 175 homes. So that's a pivot. Now at that point you have to take the decision to actually kill your own business that you also painstakingly created and pivot to the next. So who knows what we will pivot to in the future, we don't know. Already we are converting ourselves into a full stack technology company. So today in the homestays globally, the software will be provided with the entire backend operations, PMS, CRS. Just sort of things, so we are constantly pivoting.
There's a whole concept of fail fast.
Fail fast.
Right? So out of 10 ideas that you want to execute, 9 will fail, 1 will work. But you have to keep trying. So the speed at which you keep trying and keep moving on to the next one, simultaneously work on 3-4 is what will actually decide your growth also. Otherwise you're doing one, then you wait for 3 months, then you wait for 6 months, then you decide, oh, this is not working, now let me try something else. That is not a, so a hallmark has to be that how fast you move, how fast you are able to change. And I think there are ample examples of this, right? When Amazon started, they started as just some website which was selling books, Moonly, right? When Nykaa started, it was just a pure marketplace for cosmetics and brands. And now they have their own brands, right? So that's a pivot. But again, the idea was that you grab a great database, a great customer base, and then you have the data, then you can actually sell them. It's a captive marketing. Whatever you sell them, you can.
So disruption and pivot for the also example, sponsors of the event, Saraswat Bank, right? The banking industry is completely threatened globally by the existence of cryptocurrency, right? And there are conversations that are happening in the country by RBI saying no, they should be banned. The government of India taking a slightly lenient view on it. We don't know where it's going to move, but the reality of the future is that a lot of the blockchain technologies that crypto actually resides on will be here to stay. Whether it is smart contracts, whether it is with title deeds, whether it is a lot of stuff that happens on blockchains, it is here to stay. Whether cryptocurrency is adopted by us or not is a secondary question. But many of those technologies are going to come. So Saraswat Bank will also have to evolve to recognize these trends. Right? UPI, only go to UPI. NPCI started UPI, and I think it's if you ask me which is India's biggest startup, it is NPCI. And it is a zero valuation because government is company. But the day NPCI decides to list itself on global Nasdaq markets, it will be the largest startup of this country. Right? It probably billions of dollars of valuation. We are sitting on a technology which we should have been actually talking about the entire world. So we are capable, even as a government agency or an organization, to create these. So we should create our own cryptocurrency. What stops us?
Awesome. Let's talk about competition a bit. Okay. So I guess in your space, your competitor would be Vista Rooms. Vista is a competitor and Airbnb kind of. A bit. I think they are getting into luxury homestays also, sort of their website. Anyway, what differentiates you from your competition?
Firstly, our competition is Taj.
Oh.
Our competition. So that's how we look at it. Our competition is Taj. Our competition is the 5 stars and the 7 stars. And we would like to play that category.
Awesome.
Right? So we are very clear that everything we do, we are constantly trying to beat them at their game. And they are not nimble. They are fundamentally slow moving. So all we have to do is just ensure that we scale up nationally and provide that same level of product to large audiences at affordable prices. That's it. And Vista Rooms is also in the same business. And I feel Vista is not competing with me. Vista is also competing with the hospitality measures. So our competition actually is hotels. Our competition is not Vista and Airbnb.
So what's that? Tell me the differentiation. Like what sets you apart? What are your USPs? If I have to go to
operations work there,
if I have to go to Goa, why should I choose a SaffronStays and not Taj Aguara?
That answer is very simple. That answer is because, in my home you will get privacy. You will get the whole pool to yourself. You will get better quality food. You will not have to, you're in Goa, so, for heaven's sakes, you should eat curry rice. But in the Taj Aguara, you will actually not get that at all. Trust me, and it's a big problem. So that answer is very simple. As far as a direct competition like Vista is concerned, I think Devendra is absolutely right. We are, as a market, as an industry, we are so scratching the surface here that it's very big for both of us to be there. So it's not a winner takes it all. I don't think we believe in a winner takes it all kind of this, and we have tremendous respect for that brand as well. I think together we are pushing the boundary, we are pushing the envelope all the time. So I think we both the brands will be phenomenally well in years.
Can we have a few videos of SaffronStays? What?
काय माहिती आपण मराठी माणसाने काय गरज नाही बांधली इकडच्या ठिकाणी. All these industrialists, they have gone and captured every beach, every lakefront, everywhere. They have captured land and built these unbelievable gorgeous houses. So we are just unlocking them for all of us.
They are very good.
They are absolutely gorgeous.
We have one more, Sandeep.
There doesn't go like that.
I'm really tempted.
On the beach, unrestricted views of the sea, and बघा greenery आहे. You are alone. अख्खं 5-star हॉटेल तुमचं आहे, कोण नाही तिथे.
That's a mansion.
Yeah.
It's a mansion.
6 बेडरूमचं घर आहे. Imagine you are having your 40th birthday party, right? Perfect. Sir, 30th, sir. So your 30th birthday party.
Thank you.
And you are throwing it in style, right? And you own the whole place to yourself. You have a lovely party. Only your choicest friends, right? Your choicest family members. और तुमची एक छोटीशी टीम है, right? Saraswat Bank's senior management team wants to do a brainstorming session. You know,
High pitch, high pitch.
high pitch. त्यानिमित्ताने आपण पण जाऊ तिकडे, sir. Yeah. But imagine, I mean, it's like having your own private resort. And that's the beauty that we are unlocking these spaces to all of us. We are democratizing it. And what vision we saw 20 years ago, we're just realizing it now. Because Kerala, beta, I think
Get a job there.
we were in that. First, you
Make some banks rich.
I tell you, Marathi mansas are where entrepreneurship dies. First, getting married. Second, having first child. Third, having your first house. Fourth, having your second child. Fifth, buying your second house because you have to, kind of, invest. Which are only people who enrich are the banks because they say, the real estate players because they want that. And eventually then 20 years go by and say, आपल्याला ते करायचं होतं ना. So we took a decision. I'll tell you my personal thing. I turned 40 that day. I went to my boss and I said, I'm done. Okay, I've built this whole practice of cyber security. आता 6 partner आहेत त्यांना handover करतो. आम्ही निघालो. Okay, and then he asked me this fundamental question. I still remember. He said, Deven, Deven, do you have a plan B? I said, no. Very good. Do it. मतलब वाह, ये तो अपने से सोच रहा है.
Awesome. So, Tejas, Deven, what are your growth plans? Like, how do you, where next?
So the immediate plans for this year are that we are opening up new locations. So the second pivot I was just mentioning was that during COVID, we actually contracted and we paid attention only to Maharashtra and we grew only in Maharashtra. Okay, so the second time in our lives, we contracted. We went from 170 homes that we were pre-COVID to 55 homes and rebuilt from 55 to now 170. Most of these 170 are in Maharashtra. And that gave us tremendous, economies of scale, economies of operations, economies in marketing, various things.
So 170 घरामध्ये 750 रूम्स म्हणजे इमॅजिन तुमचं 750 रूमचं हॉटेल आहे. ओके, दॅट इज स्प्रेड ओव्हर 175 लोकेशन्स विथ 4-5 रूम्स इन एव्हरी प्लेस. दॅट्स द साईज ऑफ द एंटरप्राइज. आणि आम्ही ॲड करतो आता मला वाटतं 10 ते 15 घरं विच इज 50 ते 75 रूम एका महिन्यामध्ये. दॅट्स द रेट ॲट विच वी ॲड.
So I think the immediate plans are going to be that we've already built up a team and we are now expanding pan-India already. And then we'll see how it goes, right? I think after that, I think the global aspirations, of course.
Just to be global. Wherever you as an Indian go, we would like to follow you. So if you, might decide to go to Bali, we will follow you and set up something. Customer decides the brand. So wherever you go, we'll follow.
Awesome. So just, point us about this particular bungalow that we just saw this mansion. If anybody would like to book it, on an average, what would be the per night?
It's very reasonable. So a 6-bedroom house like this will cost you 35,000-40,000 on a weekday to 50,000-60,000 on a weekend. Whatever. And meals also 30% more. So over a weekend, so was lavish party वगैरह सगळं असलं तरी 1.5 लाख 2 night for 12 people.
For 12 people.
Yeah. So it's not actually unaffordable.
For the epitome of luxury. Actually, it's really worth it.
Oh, totally worth it. म्हणजे तुम्ही per head cost केलं ना,
Yes.
you realize that we are actually not expensive at all.
We are, it does look big, but if if you actually break it down, if you see what the value that you're getting, it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
I must say.
But we don't become affordable for couples. म्हणजे एक couple जाऊन book करणं म्हणजे too much. So we don't position ourselves. आमचा tagline काय माहिती का? Where families bond. Okay. So when you said USP, no, our tagline stands for everything we do, everything in our organization, everything we communicate, everything we speak is about where families bond. And we are in the business of creating spaces where we allow families and friends to come and bond. So we are in the business of creating bonds. Right? So how we engineer spaces, the centers of gravity कसे create करायचे, seating spaces कसे create करायचे, dining halls कसे create करायचे.
So you actually get into the interiors with the owners and all that.
But then we try to
Okay.
Yeah, but we engineer pretty much एकदा बंगला आमच्या हातात आला, पुढचं सगळं आमचं असतं. So everything we do is, with an intention that, आणि ह्याच्यात बघा, म्हणजे आता we are not providing any hospitality service where we are being obsequious or sir तुम्हाला काय हवं. No, we take a step back. We are little unobtrusive, so to say, because we respect the privacy of the customer, right? But at the same time, we generate and create spaces where you can want. So इकडे माझा माणूस तिकडे तुम्हाला काही एंटरटेनमेंट शो करणार नाही. तुमच्या क्लबमध्ये जाऊन करतात ना ते सगळे. We are not in that business. We are not in the business of creating experiences for you. You create your own experiences. You create your own memories. We are mere facilitators in the process.
Amazing. So much riding on you that both of you, millions of dollars, expectations, the media. I read about you guys, just a simple Google search of your names is all about economic times, life, bet, blah, 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 blah. Do you fear, losing it or your brand getting devalued? How do you cope up with that?
All the time. I think entrepreneurs are extremely insecure people. And I think maybe it's the insecurity that keeps us on the edge. Perhaps it's that human thing that keeps us up in the night thinking, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong. I think the roller coaster of emotions also in a day is tremendous. The day starts with आज कुछ बोलेंगे. By afternoon you're like, अरे क्या यार अच्छा job था ऐसे में, what the hell, what am I doing? And by looking again, then sometimes something as simple as someone calling and saying, I stayed at a property and I loved it, and then suddenly you're on club night, right? So these things, I think that insecurity definitely is there, that feeling of will I fail, will this happen, will that happen, always is there, but actually that helps us push ourselves to doing better every time.
Yeah, we compete with ourselves. To be very honest, we are just not between ourselves, with ourselves. But clearly, we have to improve ourselves. I must tell you, every 3 months we take a very hard look at our own self and say we have to be better than what we were last month. In revenues, in quality, in our service, in our everything, every time we think, are we better? And if you're not better, so my biggest fear is if we stop improving, right? If we stop growing.
And with so much that you guys do, devoting so many hours, so much of stress, has this impacted your friendships, your family life, your... Have you changed?
सगळे विसरले. म्हणजे we used to get invited to parties and friends and आता तर ते अजून करतात हे ते येणार नाही. जाऊन दे.
So it has impacted you in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I guess that's a sacrifice that is worth it. Awesome. So there's a saying that every captain is as good as their team, right? And I had the privilege of visiting your office. Thank you for inviting me. And I saw that you have a very, very vibrant team. If anyone wants to join your team, right, what do you look at before recruiting that person? Number one. And number two, once that guy or girl comes in, how do you get the best out of them?
One word, stencil. Stencil. And I think extremely important question you asked, because as an entrepreneur or as a startup, first of all, as a brand, we are so small that we may not necessarily attract the best talent on this. So what is it that we look for when we recruit? So what we look for is not necessarily what you've learned before, your past experiences or your past skill set, but your attitude. Okay, whether you are someone who can be groomed into whatever this. I mean, as a startup, we are ourselves an amoeba, correct? We keep changing shape, form, everything. So you should also be such that you can change shape, form as and when required. So very, very interesting people also we have, some of them we interacted with, but I tell you that people who started up for 4 years, 5 years with us have changed their profiles, their job roles so dramatically. For example, there's someone who joined us from a hardware operations background. And after 3 years, he came and said, I want to do something else. Although he was obviously grown over there also, we moved him completely into the supply function. I don't know, maybe 2 years down the line, he moved into the marketing function. So even they pivot in their lives. But that is very important. That person should be such that he asks me something to love. But yeah, maybe that doesn't remain the truth. Maybe you have to change, and you have to change overnight. So you should be willing to, break your own, inertia to say that, oh, but now we decided this 2 months back and I'm sticking to this plan. Sorry, things have changed, dynamics have changed.
Harvard Business Review is a superb article, you've got to read that. It talks about 3 ways in which employees engage, stroke, get attracted by you. Okay? One is purpose. Okay? What is the purpose of your organization? Second is play. Okay? Do I enjoy my work? Do I love to play with my work? And third is profit, which is do I get rewarded for and recognized for my effort that I do. And you have to understand whoever is coming into your team, what is his or her motivation. Is this individuals, so a lot of people stay in a job because it gives them constant learning. A lot of people stay in a job because it rewards them well. And a lot of people stay in a job because it is achieving their higher purpose in life. शिवाजींचं नाव आहे त्यांना काय की भाकरी आणि चटणी आणि हे चालेल whatever, right? But higher purpose, I'm not saying dear Shivaji or whatever, but the higher purpose was driving their goals, not money or right, play. So every organization has to decide its North Star, saying that that's the North Star we're going for. Whoever gets attracted to the North Star and that purpose comes in terms. So if your purpose is changing the financial ecosystem of this country, or if your purpose is ensuring that every, you create rural employment, that person who believes in that cause will come and join. If you are in sustainable clothing, the person who believes in sustainable clothing will join. So purpose is huge in attracting the right people, drive and vibe. Your vibe attracts the right drive. Right? So your core is you have to decide a North Star. And then you give reasonable freedom and flexibility for people to play around. And then obviously you give them ESOPs and you give them rewards and you give them pay hikes to ensure that they're constantly, their family isn't paid.
Awesome. A little personal, yeah? How do you guys unwind your weekends?
So I like to swim, I like to trek. So I think that's what I like.
She is learning Kathak. She and our daughter, they learn Kathak together the last 6-7 years. They've been taking exams relentlessly. She's not telling you this because she's afraid you will make her perform on it. Last time interview preparation I was saying that I will make you dance. But the other is harder. Secretly.
Okay, but that's pretty awesome. You're learning Kathak with your own language. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. She pushes me for it more than anything. So it's a nice equation that has changed. So earlier when she was much younger, I had to push her. Class be serious about it, study. Now it's also she's put a reminder on my alarm on my phone. So I don't forget the time and everything. But yeah, it's very interesting.
What about you? I play tennis every day. So almost every day.
That's for fitness. No? What do you enjoy doing?
Tennis.
Tennis.
And I trek every year, at least once a year, I switch off my phone, I try to switch off my phone, and in the Himalayas I'm trekking. So was in the zone with us. We were doing some attitude trekking for it. I enjoy that. That is enough for me to charge myself or recharge myself for the next 3 months or 6 months or whatever. Otherwise, every day. Almost Tuesdays or whatever.
Very fit man, must. You are. I'm actually saying this for a discount. But you are. So, rapid fire time, right? So let's play a quick rapid fire as they say on television, let's keep this rapid and full of fire. But there's no hamper, right? There is no hamper today. The hamper is the love of the audience. So I'll shoot questions to you, right? You go first, then you go. So here we go. The best travel destination?
Andamans.
Goa.
Goa. Nice. Favorite cuisine?
Italian.
Goa prawn curry.
You're my kind of guy. Awesome. Do you prefer the mountains or the beaches?
Both. I don't know. Mountains, beaches, I don't know. I can't decide.
See, I love the mountains, but I still like Goa. But
Beaches because they give you fish. Absolutely. Your favorite film all time?
Andazan.
Both of you. Nice. Your all time favorite book?
Pride and Prejudice.
I read a book every 2 weeks or every 10 days.
Which book? Okay, I'll reframe the question. If you have to recommend the audience 0 to 1. 0 to 1. Okay. Do you work best in the morning or at night?
Mornings.
You're a morning person.
Night.
You're a night person. Awesome. Okay. Deputy, I like. Do you prefer cats or dogs?
Both.
Neither.
Neither. Your favorite superhero?
Iron Man.
Iron Man, Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
I am man.
Okay, awesome. If you had the choice to have a superpower, what kind of superpower would you like?
To be invisible.
Invisible. Interesting.
Reading people's mind.
Reading people's
Which
minds.
she already has that as a woman. So, and has no clue. He's just reading it.
If you could be any famous person for one day, who would that person be? And why? Anybody.
Elon Musk or Steve Jobs. One of them.
Amazing. And why Elon Musk?
America stopped inventing things after they put the man on the moon. Right? After that, they forgot to push the frontiers of science. Facebook, Instagram, they're great companies, but they are not advertising companies. If you notice, they're just media. Your minutes of usage on the app. Elon Musk was the first guy who was pushing the frontiers of science and transportation. Whether it's space transportation or the Hyperloop or the Boeing company.
What an amazing personality.
Yes, or finance to automobiles, everything is revolutionizing. The battery technology, the sustainable whatever, pump solar. Same Steve Jobs, he unsettled and upset every industry, from music industry disrupted, from the film industry, animation industry is largely because of him. Nobody knows it. Very few people know it. But music industry is nowhere close to what it is. It's Steve Jobs. Phone disturb, but actually really the ecosystem of app, the walled garden that he created was something else. Right? So Steve Jobs, computing, right? Steve Jobs. So
I purposely asked him that so you could think.
I still don't have an
Oh,
answer.
come on.
No, I really don't. Like, I can't think of
One famous person whom you would like to be. Anybody. Someone who inspires you.
But Tony Stark's money.
Huh?
I'll still say Tony Stark's.
You'd like to be Tony Stark. Okay, awesome.
You want to cool gadgets?
Chaha ki coffee? What do you prefer?
Tea.
Cha. Your next holiday destination that you are planning?
I want to do Kashmir.
Kashmir. Oh, interesting
I want
choice.
to trek in Kashmir. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ibiza.
Huh? Ibiza. Spain.
I chose mountains and you've chosen a beach.
Yeah.
Separately, you work together 24/7. You don't know holiday separately.
Your all-time favorite song?
Again, no.
I don't make you sing there. You can say it.
No, I don't have one. I think no, favorite song, no. I really don't.
Deven?
John Lennon's Leaving on a Jet Plane.
थोड़ा सा Throw it.
See?
Next time. That's for you. I can request you. Next. Okay. Interesting question. Money or power?
Money.
Power.
Describe failure in one sentence. One sentence.
I guess failure is not a failure as long as you learn something from it.
That's
That
it.
is.
Absence of growth.
Absence of growth is
You
failure.
stop growing as you failed.
Well said. The mobile app you use the most?
Uber.
Uber.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, same here. And complete the following sentence. SaffronStays is cool because SaffronStays, if you don't like the word cool, you could use the word hot. SaffronStays is hot. It's your brand, guys. Come on. SaffronStays is cool because
We are cool because of the kind of people we attract. Right? Whether it's customers, whether it's homeowners, or even the people who join us. So the coolness portion culture, we are
awesome. So that concludes our rapid fire. And there's no hamper, as I said. I would have said this is
mocha with Mohit. Coffee with Karan Asthana, mocha with Mohit.
I'd like to open the floor to the audience, please. If anybody has, you have a question? That's amazing. Okay, I'd like to open the floor to the audience. If anyone has a question, Sandeep, would you be trying to just hand over the mic, if you don't mind?
First of all, thank you so much for sharing so generously about everything that you're doing, and you are very humble enough to say that you are lucky. I don't think it's luck, it's years of experience and thought that has gone in, the creativity that's gone into your brand. So I have two questions for you. The first question, of course, is that you're saying go big or go home. That's what I know you say. What happens to small or medium entrepreneurs who are startups, and how do they manage it? That's my first question. The second question is, why are you talking about pivot? Is there a pivot to be a Robin Hood in your industry when you're looking at all segments of customers, or it's intentionally that you've looked at only HMIs?
I actually didn't get your second question.
My second question is, you're talking about pivot, and right now you're targeting only the HMI and the green customers. Are you also looking at the trends? Because it's like you're either a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond. Are you planning to get into the mode where you're looking at providing maybe a second level product which will be for the masses? Is there something?
So and the first question was
What is your advice to startups who are small and medium?
So I'll take the first one. So frankly, I think there's space for everyone and everyone's ambitions in life. So it very clearly depends on where you want to take your idea to and to what scale you want to take it to and how much you want to do. I think that's a great thing about entrepreneurship, that you can do what you want, and there's literally no need to feel judged and no need to judge someone else. So I think that way everyone is, and there is space for everyone, there is a value for everyone, and there is a place for everyone in that, spot under the sun. So I think if that answers your question, I think that is.
So for us to choose the HNI segment or the premium segment was actually an accident. It was not necessarily what we so homestays होते हैं जहाँ से जो 2000 homestays they were all 1000 rupees, 1500 rupees, 2000 rupees per room per night kind of homestay. But the property that we started running and managing incidentally came about in the upper segment, and then we kept going up. Now, will it stop us from launching a slightly pocket friendly? No. In fact, I believe the supply is 10 times in the slightly lower level. So you have to understand, as a company, it is very easy for the company in the premium space to go one step down. For example, an Accenture to launch a BPO was very easy. in the mind of the customer, it's still Accenture. But there are a lot many technology companies that emanate from India. They have attempted going into consulting and they haven't done that. Right? So to move up is very difficult, to come down very easy. Even in branding, you can move from the top end of the market segment and come down. Very difficult to go up. Right? You get my point? So for us, we realize that if you have to build a solid foundation for our brand, let's dominate one space which is premium luxury accommodation. Let's do it pan India, and then to expand it to the next level very easy. Very aspirational Indians will all want to consume our product. That's the game plan.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Yeah. Manji, would you like to come forward?
I have two questions for you actually. One is, would you consider the entry barrier to your business? Why would another set of entrepreneurs not set up the same sort of business? And private equity investors look at valuation at the point of entry and at the point of exit. So it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the entrepreneurs during the period that the private equity investors are invested in your business. What is your take on this? And do you feel that kind of pressure to perform while the investment is external?
So I'll answer the second question first. Yes, definitely there is pressure always when you have an external investor in place, and they constantly watching your questioning. But that's what, if you remember when I spoke about having a right partner and an investor, I think we've been lucky again on that front, because the partners that we have stood by us through thick and thin, and we've really been through hell, right? Through COVID times and everything. We've been through really hell. But the fact is that they've backed us to the T. They've said, okay, whatever it is that you want to achieve, we are there. We are a sounding board and nothing more than that. So they don't necessarily come and say, ये क्यों किया, इतना ही क्यों किया, इतना क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? No. Of course, they will once in a while come and rap us on our knuckles. I think the only time they really rap us on our knuckles is when we lowball our ambitions. If we say that, acha, 10 ही they will come back. Be screwed. What is stopping you? I will remove the path of, to that 20 or your growth. Whatever are your impediments, I'll remove it. Tell me what it is. Right? So that's an enabler. And I think that is very critical. Right? You asked about the value that we look for, and this is where, again, as an entrepreneur, humility matters. Very rightly, when you're taking someone's money, you can't ever look at that point of investment taking to be the last investment that you ever take. Right? You always look at it as, at this stage, I need this guy. But to ensure that the next guy also comes in, there has to be some space. Right? So if you extract all the valuation from the first guy itself, the next guy आके क्या करेगा?
उसका multiple पूछने का थी. Your fund, what is the multiple that you are committed back to your LPs? And always leave money on the table, right? Always leave money on the table. So you say, look, you need not take all valuation from that. In fact, you should take as low as valuation, at least in the initial rounds, to demonstrate your track record. And when my investor of 6 cents gets a 4x on his, his investment in 3 years, then my story is set. Right? So then for me to get the next one, the guy will say, उसको कितना मिला था? 4x मिला था, 3 साल में, चल, मेरा ले. Okay? So then your story is to always leave money on the table. But down the round is a kill of the startup guys. The up rounds is always a little bit. So take low, don't aim for high valuation. Always look for a low valuation and then wrap it up slowly. And what was the first question?
Entry barrier.
Entry barrier. So in our business, unfortunately, we've realized to our detriment, entry barrier isn't as high. It's very easy for somebody to pick up a pillar and run. Yeah. Sorry?
The entry barrier is low.
Low. Yeah. So we've created entry barriers. So our entry barriers, 2 barriers. One, the brand. Okay. So a homeowner wants to associate themselves with only a brand and above. Okay. And second is technology. Our scale will happen It was very easy. It's very easy for an operator to run 5 homes. Slightly difficult with 20. Anything above 20 without technology you can't scale. Right? So if we are putting at 20 a month, right? So the way we do it is because we have a tech background, a tech. So our moat is brand and tech.
All the best.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I mean, I was really fortunate that I could stay at one of your places. We wanted to give a nice experience to one of our friends who are leaving the country. And we were looking for something which is extremely safe as well as a fine experience, and everything was just spot on. So thank you so much.
Where did you say?
Sorry, in Casa Onshore in Lonavala.
Lovely.
So my question is, I mean, pardon me for getting the numbers wrong, but you said you had reached a scale of 175 and then you scaled it down to 455 and then again you're scaling up. So my first question is, how easy is it for you to scale down and then scale back up again? And the second one is, you're talking about the growth and you were talking about the power of compounding here when you spoke of adding 1% a week. So how big is the market, and how do you, now you're saying you're adding 20 a month or something, but how many how do you filter out applications? If you're getting 100, then what's your criteria for choosing? Because you don't want to compromise on quality by just chasing growth. So how do you match, how do you go about a balance on
So you
that?
made the problem that we face. Our biggest problem as a company is not the demand. We have insatiable demand. Like theoretically, every person out there is a customer, right? At a different price point, and awareness levels of who we are and what our company is. Our growth constraint is supply. Is quality supply. Unlike Europe, where every house is beautiful, in India, every house is not beautiful, right? And so finding these houses is very tough. So that becomes an entry barrier, so to say. But it's also it's also a matter of timing. The reason why we are so bullish about the next 5 years is because during COVID, the need and the importance of having a second home suddenly became apparent to everybody. So everyone who was sitting on cash, everyone who was sitting on other investments other than real estate in second homes, but in the house of 15 वर्ष में second home को बोला, suddenly निकल गया, everybody burnt their fingers because all those homes are lying idle and not being maintained. But now there are players like us who are actually sticking our necks out and saying, we will maintain, don't worry, we will monetize the asset. So now, you won't believe it, Inka Asagaon मध्ये गोव्याला 750 villas बनते from a price point of 2 crores, 3 crores, going up to 8 crores, 9 crores per villa. That's the kind of quality supply that is coming through. So we believe that the constraint to our growth, which was supply, is going away. And which is why we are so bullish about a pan-India expansion. And again, startups are all about timing. And COVID has been very bad for many industries. Very bad for us in our initial days of COVID, but exceptionally good for us. Because the person who was going to hotel suddenly started looking to us because of privacy. Right? की त्या हॉटेलमध्ये सोफे लाईनमध्ये 100 लोक असणार, कोण शिकला, you don't want to catch COVID. So privacy was a big. So everybody came to us for that privacy. Realized that this is a mind-blowing product. How did we never consider this? And has become an addict of that. They don't want to go back to hotel, right? So we believe that the next 3-4 years for us is going to be our once-in-a-lifetime option.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Raj. Sandeep, yes.
Thanks. So my question was around very similar to what the answer that we gave right now. Initially, now of course, SaffronStays has become a brand. So you must be like in the leads where the homeowners come to you yourself and you have a ratio, the revenue sharing ratio, and the leads are coming. As you said, 15-20 homes probably in a month. But what about in the initial stage? Was it difficult or easy to convince the homeowner, making him understand this model, that there is a revenue sharing here, and the people who are coming in, for example, a big party comes in, and that the house will be proper and we'll keep them in shape. So how was that phase? You know,
To be fair, it is to convince a homeowner to part with his home is infinitely more difficult than for me to convince my in-laws to part with their daughter. Because they are happy to get rid of her, but home is everything.
But also, if you rent out a property, you look at all the aspects, you know, whether it's a family, and whether it's belong to what they are doing, the working culture, environment. And here, you know, you give like a big swanky villa, and what's going to happen to it? So it must be a difficult period. Yeah, that's what I feel.
No, absolutely. I think it was tough. But again, during COVID, interesting things happened. What happened is that because a very elite segment of the guest profile also started coming and asking for it. Similarly, then the supply also started opening up in similar manner. Actually, this profile of clients, I would want the host. Right? So, not just because I want to monetize my asset, but now I know that the kind of people who will come are also of a particular quality and above. So, both the ways it has worked for us, demand as well as supply. Right? But yes, you're absolutely right. Earlier, it was tough. I think the first 3-4 years would have been, we must have added 1 home a month, 2 homes a month, because it used to be very difficult if one finds such homes. Secondly, to convince people of what this concept is.
So, startups follow this concept of S growth. So, S growth in your initial days, initial years, you have almost negligible growth or very slow growth. And then there is hyper growth like a plateau. So, we are at that stage where the next 3 or 4 years, we believe there will be hyper growth in our business. And this is the perfect time to leverage the power with it. All the efforts that we've done over the last 5-6 years of building a brand, remaining true to your values, delivering exceptional quality to your customer, building a repeat base. Now, word of mouth is business, right? I mean, if one person has a bad experience, that individual goes back and your brand is good. So, you've got to keep those steps. It's not just 175 products we have 175 multiplied by 365 nights as a product that we have. That's the level of number of moving parts, right? Every night it has to go perfectly exactly the same way.
How will the customer strategy for customer as well as for homeowners?
Customer retention strategy for
Customers as well as homeowners.
Excellent question. I will let her answer.
So for customers, I think it's very simple. Like Devendra was saying that the product always has to be right. The service also always has to be spot on. And do we make mistakes? Yes, we do. We make mistakes in our product, we make mistakes in our service. But I think the purpose is set out there. Like they will give an example right at the beginning about how one of the customers was actually carrying buckets of water from one room to another. But I think interestingly, the customers understand what is the value they're getting out of it. And then they're willing to perhaps, I'm not saying that as an excuse, but sometimes they're willing to also let go of some deficiencies that they have. They may in fact come back and tell you, and in fact this is what happens. A lot of times customers come back and they give constructive feedback. They say that we like your brand and that's why I'm taking the effort of telling you what you did wrong. So next time I come to you, you don't do the same mistake. I mean,
खूप interesting concept सांगतो luxury marketing चा anti-law. There's an anti-law of luxury marketing which is have flaws in your product. Okay, so if you look at some of the best luxury products in the world, they're handmade. That creates a little bit of error in every product. Okay, it's not factory made. There is handmade as well. And that's what customers want, right? Little flaws. If you are, as a brand, a little vulnerable, customers lean in that much to make you better and better. So we're not saying that we are fraud, but we say that we are okay to accept those flaws. For example, घरामध्ये सगळं perfect नसतं. आमच्याकडे Italian marble नसतो, आमच्याकडे कोटा असतो असा, right? But the luxury is not the कोटा stone. The luxury is the stunning views that are sitting right in front of you, waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and discovering that the lake in front of you has a moonrise and the entire lake is glistening. Right? So that the surreal effect of those settings and the pricing. आणि तुम्ही अलिबागला गेला तर तुम्हाला बटर चिकन खायचं आहे का पोपटी खायची आहे? Right? That authentic local मावशीचं जेवण is far more alluring to a lot of us city slickers. And when we were being interviewed for the luxury award, we said this is our definition of luxury, take it or leave it. And we found takers, and they said this is a fantastic. The whole hospitality industry is questioning what is luxury. Is it that Italian marble? Is it the tapestry on the windows? That to me is style. That to me is hackneyed, cookie cutter nonsense that you and I. एवढा शेअर का किचन हॉल मध्ये तुम्ही राहता? काय luxury? आता 5-star रूम चं तुम्ही काय 150 स्क्वेअर फूट चा तो रूम आहे. Here we are giving you uninterrupted views. That ownership is luxury. So people are okay with a few flaws saying that ठीक है, the stone is unfinished. It's okay. No Italian marble. So flaws in your product have to be very carefully. But your linen can't be dark. Your linen has to be butter smooth. Yeah, the folding has to be proper. This young man came to me and said he wants to start a deep cleaning company, right? See his hustle. So fantastic. You need people like you to come and say, "Chal, मैं अलीबाग से एक piece कर deep cleaning कर." That is uncompromisable. Nobody likes to have a dry bathroom. I mean, a wet, chicken bathroom. You know why people go to a Starbucks and not to a CCD? Washrooms, dirty washrooms. Women avoid CCD because Starbucks मध्ये every 1 hour somebody goes, cleans, perfume मारतो, साफ सुथरा करतो. Secret ते coffee नाही. So coffee equally shit both places or equally good in both places. Yeah, the reality is your customer is looking for some unmentionables or unmentioned needs which you find out what that need is. So we know a few secret sauces of our business, what our customers ask for, what our customers want, and we only play on those. We don't waste the time in perfecting our product. What we're fighting for is a customer getting attracted to our business and B, repeat business. So the single metric that we look for is repeat here. How much percentage of our business this month is repeat? And if that falls to the threshold, we panic.
Hello. I don't have a question, but I would appreciate one of the properties that we would have not stayed there, but in Dapoli, near Monday Beach, fabulous. Sorry? I don't remember the name, but we had just been there to see the wooden things which were there. As you rightly said, and it was all antique, those brass.
Thank you so much.
Super, very nice.
Thank you. Good. Each are happy customers in the audience. पंडित सर पण येऊन मिळवून गेले ना हो सर.
Thank you very much to your audience for your wonderful questions. There is one question which I have been requested to ask by your very dear friend Mr. Nagesh Pindi. He's been associated with you, with ICICI, with you, with Ernst. And it's a very interesting question, and I will quote his question because he wants me to ask it in this particular way only. So here it goes. I used to know a person called Devendra from Ernst & Young. He was a straight-jacketed IT systems and control expert who would spellbound the board of directors of many corporates with his out-of-box thoughts and brilliant presentations. We seem to have lost him, and a new personality by the name of Deven Parulekar has replaced him. So what's the difference between that Seedha Sada Ram and today's the daring, swaggering Sham with such infectious zest? And he's giving the reference of the famous movie Ram also. So Deven, that question is specifically for you.
No, the individual is the same. What changed, what happened was midlife crisis. The goal was, क्या है 20 साल तो चले गए लाइफ में, हमें तो कुछ करना है. So that's what changed. But I had the privilege of working for Mr. Nagesh Pindi as a client. And in fact, even before me, my sister Yogita was from EY, his first service provider. Right? So the relationship was even before. He's more like
He's a mentor to all of us.
I know, seriously. So, thank you for that question and thank him for that.
He's told me to tell you that he's not here. He's in Mandalay. Would have loved to be here. He specifically told me to ask him this question. Thank you.
No, but I was a storyteller even in those board meetings, and I'm a storyteller even now. So the idea is even that, see, I was a cyber security specialist. 20 वर्षापूर्वी cyber security standing on rooftop screaming to the whole world, nobody understood. काय प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्व करतो हे पण माहित नाही. तू बाहेर आहे मग तू काय लिहितोस मला? What are you trying to say? So there were few enlightened souls like Mr. Nagesh who understood it and bought into our story at that time as to what we were trying to solve the problem for the bank, as they said, right? So, yeah, privileged to have a customer stroke, mentor stroke, whatever.
We all are. And finally, it's time to wrap things up. But my last question to you is, what is that advice you would give any budding or aspiring startup founder? Anyone who's starting up right now, words of wisdom.
Irrational perseverance. Irrational. There is no other word. Okay? Irrational. The world will tell you everything irrational, but just right? And keep feeling, keep pivoting, keep ideating, keep doing stuff. You will hit it. You will get there. Right? Just remain at it and keep pivoting. See, doing the same thing, expecting different results is a mark of insanity. Which means you have to try new things. Keep trying new things. Most marketers, most guys don't have a clue what is working and what is not working. And most successes happen accidentally. New Instagram will work, new WhatsApp will work, or which feature of WhatsApp will make it so viral. Keep trying, keep doing stuff, keep failing, keep learning from it, but love it or love it. That's all. Awesome.
When you summarize it absolutely well, there are no bad ideas, there's bad execution. So you have to just be at it all the time.
Awesome. I must say it's been a privilege for me to have shared this stage with my seniors from college. Thank you very, very much. In fact, Krishna has also Poda, right, who has to a question.
I have one small addition to make here. See, most of us don't have, safety nets or our barka paisa. Okay? Few of us have, but most of us don't, right? Where they have given copious amounts of capital for you to and a base. So a lot of us have to have the hard work and the patience to build your own safety net at some times. And second, have zero expenditure in your life. Gaadi vikat घेऊ नका, घर विकत घेऊ नका. Create no encumbrances, no EMIs, absolutely no outflows. You should be able to live like a pauper, but work on your business idea or work on your enterprise, and nobody should be complaining. So your needs are committed as needs, frugal right? So your whatever you earn, you're profitable. Right? If you don't have a swanky office, you're profitable. Right? If you don't have expenditures on 5 stars and 7 stars, you're profitable. And don't consume other people's brands, create your own brand. Right? Let other people consume your brand. So why go for a Gucci, Prada or a bag? That's not good.
Awesome, thank you. Mr. Nagesh speaking, of course, for his wonderful question. And last but not least, the one and only Siddharth. Thank you, Siddharth, for having the faith in me, for giving me this platform to interview my seniors. And now, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's have a big round of applause for Mohit. Before I actually invite somebody to give the word of thanks, I'd like to ask if anybody in the audience would like to give a small bite in appreciation for the event today. Anybody here who would like to share their feedback, what was they learning, how did they feel?
मराठीत सांगायचं म्हणजे आज जे काही ऐकलं ते त्याच्यात तेजस आणि डेवन ते म्हणतात ना त्यांनी 3 P's सांगितले मला ते 3 स दिसले म्हणजे सहजता सरळता आणि सहृदयता अतिशय सुंदर पद्धतीने सांगितलं आणि आय टेल यू मोहित इज द रिअल हिरो मला वाटतं त्याने जे काही क्वेश्चन विचारला आणि त्याने ज्या उत्सुकतेने ते सांगितले आम्हाला I think everybody must have got that particular thought in mind that why not, irrespective of the age, why not we try to start up some startup. So this is what I feel and I extremely express my sincere thanks on behalf of everyone to Deven and Tejas man and Mohit for making this evening unforgettable. Absolutely fantastic evening and Siddharth, as you know that he selects the people and he has selected Mohit for this job and it is fabulous and I am sure that we will have much more functions like this where we will learn something from people like this. I never asked question but now just while thanking I am just saying that who is actually mentoring each other because they say that without mentoring you don't grow also. So who is a mentor in your life? Either you are mentoring her or she is mentoring you.
So, our daughter summarizes it beautifully. She says, Baba, you are like a train engine which is running at 200 miles per hour. And I is like that last bogie which ensures not one bogie is left behind. Right? Like our daughter says that, it's a combination that you are running at a break, but you can't go alone. Engine bogie, what is the... everything is I know was
आणि दुसरं तुम्ही म्हटलं अबाउट बॉन्डिंग तुम्हाला बघून असं वाटतं की तुमच्या घरात अगदी म्हणजे काय म्हणायचं सांगता येत नाही बट फॅब्युलस बॉन्डिंग नाहीतर काय होणारच नाही बाहेरच्या आमच्यासारख्याला बॉन्डिंग करायला सांगितलं
मॅनिफेस्टेशन
एनिवे मे गॉड ब्लेस यू विथ म्हणतात ना साऊंड हेल्थ अँड अबंडंट हॅपीनेस.
Thank you so much, sir. I'd like to give a small gratitude to you as well. I think any one of us who had to go and hire a mentor today and learn whatever you shared would have cost us a bomb. So we feel lucky that we are part of the global chamber of Saraswat entrepreneurs to have somebody like you as part of our community and to share this. So thank you so much. Anybody else would like to share? Okay, so can I share this word of thanks?
Beautiful session. First, huge round of applause. I think it was fabulous. So thank you so much. On a Sunday evening, I think you made it really interesting. Most of us would have been at home, maybe enjoying the sunset or a cup of coffee. I think this was much more interesting than being at home. And masterclass, as a chartered accountant myself, I would say that for me it was a refresher. I thought in the economic times, the main internet, everything, you know a lot of things, but listening to you for the last 1 hour, I think it has been a masterclass for us. Many chartered accountants or even you've taken a lot out with us. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences, your anecdotes. We could live the journey with you for the last 7 years in the last 1 hour. So thanks again. Two things that I take home with me is why your values and your experiences one. And you don't own your brand, you just the customer owns your brand. I think everyone in the service industry, we should remember that for life. And that's something we take home with us. Mohit has been a fantastic host as always. He always takes it a notch up and this one is more different. So thanks a lot Mohit for this. Thanks to the audience and lastly thanks Saraswat for arranging such a beautiful program. And we endeavor to bring you similar programs in the future as well. So thanks everyone. Have a great evening. God bless.